Hi, shall we talk about something related to food? Food is very essential, inevitable, and nobody can survive in this world without food. We are not saints or sages. But why do we have to talk about food right now? I just want to share my thoughts with you because you shouldn't weigh or you shouldn't judge or you shouldn't give your opinion based on the food what others eat. You cannot judge someone based on what they eat. Of course, the food is going to say who you are. In many holy books, the script is already updated. I mean, it was already there. It was divided into three. I mean, you are going to be judged based on what you eat. No, you're not going to be judged based on what you eat, but you will get the qualities based on what you eat. That's true. Nobody can deny that truth. However, there is something else. There is one more fact. Everything is shaped by the geography. If someone is living in a place surrounded by the seas and it's too cold, what do they eat? They cannot cultivate anything on the land where they live. It's impossible for them to cultivate something on the frozen land. But still, there are people living over there. So, I'm not against of anything. Please make a note. I'm just giving you the very fact what is available in front of you. Everything is based on the geography. The people from the West using the cutlery, fork, knife, and other stuff. We don't need it. Why? Because they are living in the very cold place and they are going to eat a very big chunk of the meat slice. It can be anything, but it's going to be the big meat chunk. I mean, a big slice of meat. And they have to cut the meat and they have to eat with a fork. There is no other choice. Because that is very hot. And they are in the cold place. They have to consume it, when it is very warm. If it is very cold, even it's very tough to boil the water out. So just imagine if they cook the food and if they are going to consume it, if they don't use the fork and knife, it will be tough for them to consume the food. We don't have to use the cutlery because we are in the tropical place and it's very hot and humid, and moreover it's very it's very hot. Why do you want to consume the food while it is very hot when the climate is too hot? That doesn't make any sense. The ancestors from any place. They have cultivated, they have developed a few habits based on the place where they live. It's nothing to do with, mannerism or style or, discipline. No. You are in the cold place. It's too cold. And you need to consume the food when it is very hot. And you are eating the meat, the big chunk. And you need to use the fork and knife and fork and other cutlery. You are consuming the soup, and it has to be consumed when it is very hot, because you are in the cold climate. But the people living in the very hot and humid places, just imagine, that is unnecessary. Because it's already very hot. The climate, the weather itself, very hot. That's why they have developed the habits. I'm from the southern part of India. We are using the banana leaf. And we are spreading the food on it. Why? Because we are in a very hot and humid climate. It's too hot. And why do we have to consume the food that is quite hot? So we have to spread the food on the banana leaves so that, that will not be very hot, but it will be somewhat warm. And we don't have to use a fork and knife because we are eating the vegetarian food. And you have no right to judge anyone or convey your opinion based on your knowledge. It's related to your knowledge and it's limited. Make a note. It's quite limited. Even I am not here to tell you so many things, but I'm just giving you my opinion. It can be the right thing or the wrong thing that you can just check or verify the facts. Then follow it. I'm not asking you to follow me. I'm just telling you about my opinion. But you cannot force your thought. You cannot just pour your opinions, your judgment based on your experience. If someone is from the very dry place, there is no water. It's the water sources are very limited. What do they grow? And they grow something that requires little water. And they eat what they grow. Is that wrong? Just because someone is eating millets, can you judge the person? Can you just say that he is a very poor person? He is from the dry place and he is eating the food what is grown in that place. And his habits or his likes or dislikes based on his native place. You cannot judge someone just because he is eating millets. And you cannot just blame someone just because he is consuming the meat. If the person is in a very cold climate, And if he is living on the frozen land, surrounded by seas, you cannot blame the person because of it. He will eat what it is available over there, the seafood or the meat. But whatever is written in the holy books, that is true. But that has nothing to do with the climate or the people living in that place. If someone is from the very cold climate, say Sweden, Finland, Norway, and if you ask them, like, why are you eating this? That is not sensible. If people are trying to become a vegan or a vegetarian, that's good. But when you consider the whole concept of the geography or the places that is having the, rainfall, everything based on the climate and the geography, try to get it. If the place is receiving more rainfall and if they are able to grow more things, they can eat more vegetarian food. I am not saying that it's there. It's based on the geography and climate. I am not talking about anything. I am not telling that you should be a vegetarian or you should be a non-vegetarian. That's not my point. If you're able to get more vegetables, more grains, consume it. No issues. And if the person is coming from the very dry place, and if the person is consuming millets, you have no rights to teach the person. His habits, his, intake based on the place where he comes from. And you must understand the geography of the place. If it is dry, if it is receiving very less rainfall, and they grow only the millets, and they consume only the millets. Everything is based on the geography and the climate where we are in. But whatever the qualities are given is also very true. But you cannot blame the person just because what he consumes. If you convey the message to the person, if he is living in minus 20 degrees, if you're going to say that you shouldn't consume this, you shouldn't consume that, it's not going to be helpful. You can just convey the message, but he will eat what he grows. I mean, what is there?